then the final team, and I actually think this is the most intriguing because out of all the teams, I think they have the most incentive to go all in. That is the Philadelphia 76ers. They have Joel Embiid. They just recently traded for James Harden. All reports indicate that James Harden didn't have necessarily any problems with KD. It was more Kyrie related as to why he wanted to leave. So maybe there could be potential for reunion there. But the reported trade package they could throw together would be Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, and just every draft pick they could probably scrounge up. So I think this is a really intriguing fit because you give Embiid two of the best perimeter shot creators and even just passers for their teammates with their isolation ability to get other people open in Kevin Durant and James Harden. I think it allows James Harden to slide into being the third option on the team, which after what we saw last playoffs, maybe it was a chemistry thing or something, but he didn't seem like he was the James Harden of old that would easily be a number 1 or 2 option on a championship team. So that would make the fit there a little bit better. And Joel Embiid would just be able to dominate, man. It'd be crazy. So how do you feel about the 76ers? How do you feel about that offer they could throw together? What do you think could happen?
I don't think it's like I've already preluded. I don't think it's the strongest offer they could. Although Maxey's the only real intriguing piece. Tobias is a solid one. I just think it's the weakest of the packages. But in terms of like if it actually were to pull through, it would also be a potential issue for the Sixers would be depth, kind of like we went through the other teams because they already gutted their depth. That was an issue in the playoffs for James Harden. I haven't been as confident in the 76ers player development in terms of their role players as recently. And no Danny Green. And they got D'Anthony Melton, who's a solidish point guard. I imagine they'll keep, but I'm trying. Oh, they got Daniel House, but he's
PJ Tucker's there. So.
Oh, I forgot PJ. So like it's okay, but once again, that's like 6 guys, and I just don't think through an 82 game season and then the playoffs, it's tough to win that way. Like you said, we saw most of the teams look at the teams in the Final Four this year. Celtics had 7-8 guys really good, and they can run multiple lineups. Same with the Heat. Yeah, so obviously the Warriors, they won. We saw what they can do. Sometimes the Looney was in a lot, sometimes Poole's in a lot, and then and then Dallas. Dallas was a little bit different, but they still had a lot of good role players around their star. So I don't think this is a good move for Philadelphia, or really Brooklyn. So I like I said, I think this is the least likely of the ones we've talked about, even the Heat. But man, if James Harden can get form back to form, if they do pull it off, it would be very scary offensively. That team would be very scary.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think this is the team that is the most likely to just say, screw it, throw every asset they have at Kevin Durant, because the Sixers are just teetering on this edge. And I know that Embiid has not given really any indication that he plans to leave. And he's talked about how much he loves the fans and all that kind of stuff. But I really just wonder how long can Embiid settle for being bad. And although, the depth would be an issue and all that kind of stuff, it already is an issue. And you have an even bigger issue of, is James Harden good enough to be that number 2 guy? We don't know. Kevin Durant at least solves the James Harden issue. Your depth gets worse, but maybe KD going there gets you to get a bunch of, ring chasing veteran guys who will sign for the minimum, and you can maybe fill out your roster that way. I'm not sure, but I think that Philly is a really intriguing spot just because of the desperation they have. But I agree with you. I don't think it's the best trade offer. I like Maxey, but if I'm Philly, or if I'm Brooklyn, I don't have any reason to keep Tobias Harris, because I don't think that a Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris core is going to be anything more than a play-in team at best. And so then at that point, you got to try and flip Tobias Harris. So if you're Brooklyn, you're kind of wanting them to bring a third team in right away. And it gets complicated because, like we talked about, Philly just doesn't really have a lot of flexibility. They have their one package. They don't have a lot of options. Like Phoenix has options. Toronto has options. There's a variety of trade packages those teams can offer. Philly really only has one trade offer. It's just how many picks do they throw in. So we'll see what happens.